What did they say? Keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer. But what if your friends turn out to be your enemies? When you get to a certain level in any game, you start to make rivals, and the same is true for Elon Musk. Many employees of Tesla have moved on to make their own billion-dollar EV companies. Gene Berdichevsky, who worked on the Roadster, left in 2008 to build his own company. He founded Sila Nano, which works on battery chemistry, since Berdichevsky was the principal engineer on the Roadster battery. Thanks to him, the Roadster became the first highway-legal serial production all-electric car fueled by lithium-ion battery cells and able to travel over 200 miles per charge. Dozens of other ex-employees have landed up in EV companies like Proterra and Rivian, and they're set to have an outsized impact on the $6 trillion global auto industry in the decades to come. But one among them takes the cake. We're talking about Peter Rawlinson, who went from a Tesla executive to starting Lucid Motors. The British engineer based in California is currently the CEO and Chief Technology Officer of Lucid Motors, and when in Tesla, he was the vehicle engineer for the Model S. Previous, he had worked in Jaguar, Lotus, and was head of vehicle engineering at Chorus Automotive. So that's quite a resume there. He joined Tesla in 2009, where he worked as a vice president of vehicle engineering. That includes being responsible for the technical execution and delivery of the Model S. He joined Lucid Motors in 2013 as CTO and quickly became CEO in just 6 years. But why did he leave Tesla? It's no surprise that Elon Musk is a tough man to work for. Still, Rawlinson has positive memories of his time there. He said, quote, "We got on like a house on fire for most of the time I was there, not at the very end. We both obsessed about reaching for the stars with technology and engineering, and it just can't be good enough." He also left in 2012 to care for his mother in England, who was sick at the time. But just a year later, he was ready to get back to work and joined a Silicon Valley startup called Ativa. Ativa transitioned from being a battery supplier to being an automaker called Lucid in 2016. They were just debuting their Lucid Air prototype and received funding from Saudi Arabia to go ahead with their plans. He is undoubtedly following Musk's footsteps to dominate the auto industry by starting ultra-luxurious and then releasing cheaper versions with more modest specs. The Lucid Air is an all-electric sedan that initially promised 400 miles of range, 1,000 horsepower, and acceleration of 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. Rawlinson stated that the first few units of this car would cost over $100,000. But recently, the New York Times reported a serious bump up in the range. Lucid's top-of-the-line Dream Edition range beats Tesla with an impressive 520 miles on a single charge. That's over 100 miles more than the long-range Tesla Model S. With a range that high, it's unlikely the owners would ever need to use anything other than home and destination charging. The 2022 Lucid Air Dream Edition R now has 933 horsepower, which is a little lower than promised. Regardless, this baby is in direct competition with the Tesla Model S and the Porsche Panamera, and those are the two fastest accelerating EV luxury brands in the market right now. Clearly, Lucid Air wants to disgrace them with its range and acceleration. The battery capacity for the Model S and Lucid cars cannot be compared, since Tesla does like to hold its cards close to the chest. But we do know Lucid says it's a 113 kilowatt-hour battery, although EPA data suggests it could be higher. What's with all the secrecy? The acceleration on the Lucid Air is quicker than the Tesla Model S LR all-wheel drive, and the top speed is higher too. Rawlinson has been saying that Lucid cars will go further than Teslas because they are more aerodynamic and use smaller, more efficient motors and other components. And the EPA has also provided official confirmation of those claims. The 2022 Lucid Air cars also come in different drive modes. You've got the smooth mode, which limits the horsepower to 670 and softens the dampers and brake pedal feel. It also offers the driver a lighter, freer feeling while using this mode. Swift mode also restricts the horsepower to 670, but this mode feels a lot rougher. It's great if you want to go fast on winding roads. And finally, Sprint mode allows the car to achieve its maximum horsepower capability, the dampers to be exceedingly firm, and the vehicle to have a highly aggressive driving experience, as well as Tesla Plaid-like battery cooling to improve battery performance and longevity. Of course, we can't forget the experience of sitting inside this $100,000 car. Like Tesla's, the cabin has a glass canopy. There's also a retractable lower touchscreen, and within the big center console bin, a pair of cup holders, places to store a smartphone, and the sedan's front center console. The infotainment center, arguably the most important thing in the car, is an insane 34-inch digital dash cluster that stretches to the left for extra controls and to the right as part of a two-screen setup. So there are some very exciting things coming up for this company. As impressive as Lucid Air is, and believe me, it isn't the only company to be founded by an ex-Tesla employee. Peter Carlson, now CEO of Northvolt and the former chief purchasing officer for Tesla, is looking to build his own gigafactory plant in Europe, and it seems he even got the approval and a $62.9 million loan to construct it in Sweden. Once completed, it will become the largest lithium-ion battery factory in the world. Similarly, Redwood Materials was founded by J.B. Strobel, the early founding member of Tesla and the company's longtime chief technology officer. He left in 2019 to focus on Redwood Materials, and boy, has he been busy. Strobel's startup has been recruiting heavily from Tesla, from the ex-CTO Andrew Stevenson to head of infrastructure Kevin Kaskert. We can't imagine the politics happening internally, but we're more focused on the politics outside. World leaders, including President Biden, want people to switch to electric cars to fight climate change, and that is unlikely to happen unless we have a world of affordable options, as we do with internal combustion engine cars. We need more choice, more fast charging stations, more range, better batteries, the list goes on. And the public will gravitate to the companies that will provide them with it. Tesla is already facing fierce competition from Lucid, Rivian, and even traditional automakers like General Motors and Volkswagen. Ford Motor is planning to sell an electric version of its F-150 pickup truck, the most popular vehicle in the United States. Of course, Lucid will occupy a more niche market. The AirDream starts at $169,000, and that's hardly in the price bracket of the average Joe. But as they roll out the more affordable models, Tesla might start getting a little hot under the collar. Actually, that's not entirely true. Elon Musk is known to care more about saving the environment than his sales numbers, and he's been encouraging other car makers to invest heavily in EV technology. Looks like Rawlinson heard him. Lucid has almost 2,000 workers, with another 3,000 expected to be added by the end of 2022. The Arizona factory can theoretically churn out 34,000 cars a year. By 2023, Lucid is hoping for about 90,000 vehicles when it starts selling the 7-seater SUV. They are well on their way to meeting their target of revenues of $14 billion by 2025, which is an insane growth rate. Soon, Rawlinson hopes to produce 500,000 cars a year, with factories in China and the Middle East. Now that's nothing compared to a traditional car maker's mass volume production numbers, but it's still incredibly ambitious for a startup from California. Besides, Tesla isn't likely to sit and take it quietly. Elon Musk doesn't shy away from a bit of healthy competition. The Texas and Berlin gigafactories are set to produce more cars and batteries than ever. If all goes well, Tesla might even overtake Volkswagen to dominate the European market. At the end of the day, the public needs a way to transition from fuel to battery to combat climate change. While Lucid isn't our most affordable bet for that to happen, it does impose the idea of more and more options cropping up in the future. Northvolt's factory alone can provide a whole continent with locally sourced batteries while driving down costs. Batteries currently account for 30 to 50% of the total price of a car, but with more competition, that number will fall exponentially. Cheaper batteries mean cheaper cars. Cheaper cars mean widespread adoption. It's pretty straightforward. But what do you think? Is the politics getting a little messy, or do we want to see more people break out and start on their own so we can accelerate to a world dominated by EVs? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't already, check out other videos on tech on the channel. Subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a video. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.